दोस्तों नमस्कार। आज हमारे साथ है अनिल नागपाल जी, जो मुंबई से है। एक रियल एस्टेट एजेंट है और 2016 के मेरे अंधेरी के सेमिनार में वो आए थे और जहाँ पे उनकी ज़िंदगी बदल गई। और उनके जो उनको डायबिटीज़ थी, उनको ब्लड प्रेशर की समस्या थी, उनका कोलेस्ट्रॉल हाई रहता था, साथ ही साथ उन्हें किडनी स्टोन्स की प्रॉब्लम भी थी। ये सारी समस्याएँ आज समाप्त हो चुकी है। आज पूरी तरह से वो एक हेल्दी एंड मेडिसिन फ्री लाइफ जी रहे हैं। साथ ही साथ अनिल नागपाल जी जो है बहुत सारे लोगों को अपनी बातें शेयर करते रहते हैं, अलग-अलग कम्युनिटीज़ में जाके शेयर करते रहते हैं, अलग-अलग प्लेटफ़ॉर्म पे जाकर शेयर करते रहते हैं। तो उनके पास ऑलरेडी बहुत सारा जो ओजस के बहुत सारे सेमिनार्स उन्होंने अटेंड किए हैं और एज़ एन वॉलंटियर्स भी वो जुड़ते रहते हैं। तो उनका नॉलेज जो है इस सब्जेक्ट को लेकर बहुत ही जो है ऑलरेडी बेटर हो चुका है। तो आज हमारे प्लेटफ़ॉर्म पे वो अपनी बातें शेयर करने के लिए आए हैं और साथ ही साथ आपके कोई भी क्वेश्चन्स हो, कोई भी प्रश्न हो, तो आप उनसे बात कर सकते हैं। वो अपनी ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की स्टोरीज तो शेयर करेंगे ही करेंगे, साथ ही साथ आपके जो भी जो सवाल होंगे उस पे भी अनिल भाई आज आपसे बात करेंगे, राइट? सो अनिल भाई ऑलरेडी स्टूडियो में आ चुके हैं और उनको जोड़ते हैं। सो अनिल भाई, वेलकम।
Good morning, everyone. I hope I am audible to you all.
यस अनिल भाई,
I
वेलकम।
welcome I welcome all of you for attending this session on a bright Sunday morning. I hope all of you are keeping yourself safe and healthy in these difficult times. I am thankful to Ojas for providing me this platform to share my journey with all of you and to discuss a few things on health and also to answer a few questions. I am 58 years young and I have had lot of health issues during my life from early childhood. Like I used to have coughs and colds. At a young age, I underwent a surgery for tonsils, and all my coughs and colds each time were being suppressed with allopathy medicines. So this has been going on, and as I grew up, my age also went up. The disease also went on increasing. I happened to gain weight. I got high blood pressure. I got cholesterol issues. Then subsequently, I got diabetes. And in the end, like doctor said, maybe I am developing kidney stone also. We need to start medication for that. So I was in quest of a cure, like what could I do to resolve this? Though I was taking medicines to suppress all of this, but that was not the cure because it is not treating the root cause. It was only suppressing the symptoms. I was very eager to find a way out, and I was attending various seminars to find a solution to all this. And I happened to meet a friend of my a client and a friend also as well, who was also interested in health, and he took me to a seminar on a Sunday wherein I got came to know about this concept, but I was not very convinced about it. So I said, "Okay, I'll try to follow it." There was that enthusiasm was not there to follow it. Then he had me added to a group for chartered accountants, Ojas group, wherein I used to put a lot of queries over there. And looking at the queries, what I had, one of the founder members, Mr. Vikram Jain, called me late night on a day at 11 p.m. in the night, and he said, "Why don't you attend a seminar of Ojas, wherein you will understand the concept completely?" I was surprised that this gentleman has called me and asked me to attend a seminar at 11 p.m. at night. And he said that seminar is scheduled at Bhiwandi, which I said is too far for me to attend. He said, "Don't you go on holidays abroad or within the country?" So within Mumbai, Bhiwandi is not very far, but then you know how human nature is. I did not take that effort to go to Bhiwandi. Then he said, "Where do you stay?" I said, "I stay at Andheri." So he said, "What if we arrange a seminar closer to your house?" I said, "I'll be very glad to attend that." And he kept up his word, and they arranged a seminar in Andheri, which was just a few minutes away from my house. And I did attend that seminar, and I was the one of the first ones to go and join the seminar from the morning start and attended it, gave it a very serious hearing to all what was explained over there. I was thoroughly impressed with the transformations and healings of Mr. Atul Shah, Dr. Rita Gandhi, Nandini ji, and Vikram Bhai himself also had a huge transformation. So I said, yes, this is it. I gave my one full day of my life on a Sunday to this seminar from morning to evening, and I started following it the very next day. I was very desperate to get rid of my medications. I said, let me follow this without thinking of the results or without having any hesitancy. I started implementing it with full faith because I used to keep on taking pills since morning till night. I used to keep on popping pills, for diabetes, for blood pressure, and for cholesterol, then again for diabetes at night. So there was no end to all this. And then at the with all these pills, it was one more was being added for it for kidney stone. They said it is getting formed, which I didn't start at all. I increased my water consumption, and my next test showed that it is normal. So, having started this, I gave up dairy products in this, what was told to me, which was not very difficult for me since I was a vegetarian since birth. So, I never knew that dairy products affect your health. I said, there's nothing wrong in giving up. And I found this concept to be very simple. Of all the things I attended, so many seminars, I found this to be very simple. And I said that there is no harm in trying it. I don't stand to lose anything. Whatever it would be, I would stand to gain. And without thinking what the results would be, I just put in all my efforts on this sincerely. And when I made a beginning, within a month when I went, I happened to have my appointment with my diabetes doctor, and he reduced my dosage from 550 in the morning dosage. Reduced it gradually. Every month my dosage was tapered down, and the other medications as well were stopped for me. And within a span of 4 months, all my medicines were discontinued. On 1st of January 2017, I became medicine free. I gained my independence from my medicines, from my diseases. And I said, no, this is something which I was looking for it, and I never imagined that I could achieve this. But even after doing this, I continued to monitor my blood sugar levels and other parameters for a period of 3 more months. I was constantly monitoring my blood sugar levels, and they happened to be normal. Then I was said, if I am a non-diabetic, I should be able to eat everything what a normal person is able to eat. All the sweet fruits what were forbidden for me, like mangoes, bananas, grapes, chicos, I should be also be able to have if I am a non-diabetic. So I started consuming those also, and yet my sugar levels were normal. But there were a few people who were not convinced that I have overcome my diabetes or healed myself. They insisted that I do a HbA1c, my 90 days average of my sugar levels, which I did. At the end of March 31st, I did my HbA1c in the year 2017, and the levels HbA1c report said yes, it is 5.6, which is below the diabetic level. I was normal. That gave me all the more confidence on this lifestyle, and I started attending more of these seminars to share my experience with others, to motivate them in whatever way I could, and to guide them, because me also was motivated by one of these seminars, where I interacted with Mr. Manohar Vaswani, who was a diabetic and who had healed, and Dr. Sunny Singh, who himself was a diabetic. So he also gave me all the more confidence, to guide others, motivate them in whatever way I could do. Now, if you see, the Ojas have been conducting these seminars from the past 7 years, and I have been associated with them from the last almost 5 years now. They have been guiding everybody on this. Whatever support is also required, whatever queries are there, are tried to be answered as much as possible. But then it is for us to follow what they have shared the information, and in case we have any queries, we can always get back to them and ask them. They are ever ready to help people and guide them on this journey of health, because in today's time the motto has changed, the concept has changed. I could say health has become the new wealth. Today, if you have health, you have everything. Even if you have wealth, it doesn't support you if your health is not supporting you. So, health is very important. So, they are able to guide us, they are able to share information with us, but then we have to do it dedicatedly, not half heartedly, and the results are bound to be there. This is what I have experienced, that the results are bound to be there without fail. It is many people don't take success on this is because they don't have confidence with full faith on the process, and then there is peer pressure is there, family pressure is there, friends who are not aware of this lifestyle discouraging the other person, and then at the third stage, in some cases what happens, they do follow also, then the detox symptoms are there, so they get scared with those detox symptoms and give up this. But I would say not to give up, this is the most easiest thing to do. And in this journey, I have found that I have found support not only from the Ojas members, family members, and my own family also, who were very willing to support me in whatever I was going to do, which was in the interest of my own good health. They have always been very supportive. And as I went along, I had now in this today's session also, I think most of you all would be strangers here, though some of you all would have heard me earlier also, or maybe knowing my journey. But then for the newcomers also, I need to share them. So these strangers became friends with me, and then subsequently, friends became family. It has been that way. So when I started creating this awareness, sharing my experience with the others, there were some youngsters also, vegan groups, who came to know that I have become vegan at the age of 53 years and I have availed myself of various benefits. They were really surprised. They requested me. A doctor, a vegan doctor, came over to my place and he said, I would like to have your testimonial since I'm making a few videos on dairy by the name of Dairy is Beef. It is there on YouTube. And they took my brief testimonial on that. And then they explained to me the other aspects of veganism also. And I happened to join them as well and became a vegan activist in various groups. So today, any platform, Ojas or Ahimsa or any vegan groups, they ask me to come and give a talk. I do join them. Many a times there are invites for giving a talk to the students in colleges, there which also I don't refuse. I do go. Whatever opportunity is there, as far as possible, I try to attend that and share my knowledge and my experience. So the reason is, even if a few of them are motivated or convinced to do it, it is a blessing for me. It is a victory for us. My gain over here is to get blessings from the others. If they are healed, I am happy. Many people who were having diabetes have connected with me in the past 5 years. They have healed themselves and they are guiding others also. The main reason here, what I understand from my peers in Ojas and other platforms, and my colleagues who study with me, in the past 5 years, there have been so many seminars, lakhs of people have been shared this knowledge, but then there are very few who are following it sincerely. And I have been consistent with all this in the past 5 years. Though I have achieved my goals of healing myself from the diseases, but that was not the end. I did not go back to the old lifestyle. I need to move forward from here and keep continuing to remain healthy, because today remaining healthy is very important. Today I am healthy. I have regained my health. I am able to hear, talk to you. If I were not keeping well, I wouldn't be in a frame of mind to enjoy this sunny morning today on a Sunday, bright morning. Neither I would be in touch with you, neither I could have met so many people or made friends with them. So, health is very crucial over here. And I would like to say that when in the year 2016 I joined Ojas, prior to that also I had attended so many seminars, but they were very complicated processes which I was being told to adopt, to have this at this time, to have this at this time, to have so much quantity of food, so much weight I have to lose, so much weight I have to have this time. And I did all these things over there. So this was a very simple thing to include natural foods in my diet, which my family readily agreed to support me on this. And I started having green juice. I started including fruits in my diet, and along with vegetables as salads. And to make the vegetables more salads more palatable, I started having them with green chutney, because green chutney is made of leaves and they contain chlorophyll. They are very good for your immune system. The green chutney, the green leaves are very good for your immune system. Even the gods are were also, and currently also we are offering them fruits and leaves as well. So all this has been in our scriptures also. Only thing is we have deviated from our regular lifestyles and invited all the diseases what we have currently. If you see, no person is born ill, everybody is born healthy. But then as we grow up, our wrong lifestyles, our wrong eating habits, wrong timings of sleep, all this affect our life, and then we get illnesses. Even sunshine is very important in our life. So now, after having known the importance of it, I have started taking regular sun baths also, which is very essential. Like if you say in childhood, today okay, today everybody has mobile television, they are addicted so much to it. When I was small, we did not watch so much of television, and we did not have that privilege of computers or playing games on them. We were out playing it in the ground in the bright sunlight, and fly kites. Today that concept is not there. At least in Mumbai, I don't see children flying kites. So at least for a month and a half, flying kites daily would give us that sunlight, what was very essential. So these are the things, like we do it by default, and we are not doing very major changes in our life. Even small changes like giving up dairy, including fruits in your diet, your salads, green chutney, they make a lot of difference. Sleeping on the right time, giving adequate rest to the body, taking sunshine. These are small, small changes which we have to do and which are not very difficult, to do. We are addicted to our old lifestyle. We have been conditioned all these years to have those types of foods and all. I'm not saying that everybody ought to give up of all on this. We can continue to have them, but then we have to have a balanced diet. When before I started this concept, before going vegan, my doctor also, the allopathic doctor, he was very kind enough to tell me, Mr. Nagpal, you have a balanced diet. One portion should be salad, one portion should be vegetables, one portion should be pulses, dal, and one portion should be chapati or rice. When you repeat the chapati and rice with a second filling or a second chapati, you should fill a 3 also. So he was very kind enough to guide me on this. And in this process of my diabetes, I would like to tell you that people have this fear in mind that we have sugar intolerance, we cannot remain hungry. I would say this is not true. To remain hungry for 8 hours, 10 hours, or 12 hours is not difficult. When we have our last meal at night around 8 p.m., if we are having a meal, and morning again 8 p.m., if we are having something, that's 12 hours already gone by. So that's not a difficult thing to do. And if we are able to extend that a little bit, all the better, because then we allow the body time to give it to heal our organs, to take undertake the cleanse it needs to do it. If we keep it busy throughout the day stuffing food, and it will take all the energy to digest those foods only, it will not find time to do the cleanse process or heal the organs. Like now our body also, I would say it is similar to the vehicle only. How a vehicle is there, if the vehicle goes for servicing at its regular time when the customer goes, that's okay. But every 15 months, if it goes to the service center, that we will not like that, the vehicle gets spoilt and it goes to the service center for repairs. Similarly, with our body, we wouldn't like all this to happen with us. We should be able to maintain ourselves in a very healthy way, in a fuel efficient way. If the vehicle is fuel efficient, it will give good mileage. It will not demand fuel every now and then. We don't have to go to the gas station and fill it up. Same with our body also. It will not keep asking for foods, because we are clean inside. Our taste buds have become clean. So the body will demand only those things which are healthy, which suits us. Now, if you talk of this vehicle, what I was telling you, we are very particular about it to get it serviced from time to time. The vehicle also gives you indications that there is something wrong with the vehicle. The oil is less, or the water is less, or the fuel is getting over, and we immediately go get it rectified. Whereas our body also does the same thing, but we ignore it. We don't pay attention to it, and we continue with our same old habits. But in spite of that, the body is so good and so merciful, I would say, that it continues to run the body as it is, without giving any major complications. But then a time comes when you have no other option, the body doesn't have any other options, then the major disease comes in. It red flags you, that no, this is enough. Beyond this, the body says, we are unable to cope up beyond this. So then we rush to the doctor to find a cure, a labeled diagnosis for it, whether it is diabetes or hypertension or cholesterol or kidney stone. These were not there before. When we were born, when we were young, they were never there. These things, we did not have these disease, and we quickly want a cure for them, and we ask a cure for it, and the doctor also prescribes some medications for it. and we feel much better, we feel we are all right, but that is not the case. What I have observed and what I have experienced personally, that it only suppresses the symptoms. It doesn't address the root cause. The root cause needs to be found out and that needs to be addressed. Otherwise, these symptoms, okay, today they are getting suppressed, but then later on, they would come back in a very big way. So then we have a major issue on hand. Now, this is I could share on you since we are short on time. Let me come to a few things like talking about my diabetes. So, when I was diagnosed for diabetes at the age of 43, the doctor said it is nothing, it is a very common thing, and he was not misleading. Yes, diabetes was very common. Now I find every second person having diabetes. It has become as common as a cough and cold, and he put me on a small dosage of medication with 2 mg, 1 mg in the morning and 1 mg in the night. But then in a span of 10 years, that medication went on increasing because that 1 mg was ineffective. He made it 2 mg, 2 mg was not effective. He made it 4 mg. 4 mg dosage at a time was not affected. He made it 10 mg, and it kept on increasing. And at the end of 10 years, I was having my dosage of 1000 mg in the morning and 1000 mg at night. So I said, this is very high. And then the next step here would be after a certain time, inflammations would be hitting subject, sugar less. So the report, what it showed that it is under control, used to please me all the 10 years that I am on the right track. No, I was not. My organs were getting damaged. There was more insulin getting generated, and maybe the next step would have been insulin would have been prescribed for me, and after a few years, maybe if that insulin was not effective, I would have to go in for dialysis, and then subsequently after a few months or a year, I would have been asked to go in for a kidney transplant, because all these things affect your kidneys. In simple words, if you understand what is diabetes, it is a hormonal imbalance. Like even if one hormone gets imbalanced, say for example vitamin D, then the diabetes is also disturbed. The sugar levels get disturbed. We have to have at least a minimum of 10 minutes of sunshine every day. If not, we are not able to do that, which I myself also am unable to do it, say for this lockdown. But I used to make it a point that I go for a sunbath on the terrace for an hour at least on a Sunday, spend my time in the sun, and you won't believe it, my last check which I did on my test on my diabetes, my sugar levels were 36. They were within the limits, not below the limits. But then, yes, there is scope for improvement. Even if you're not deficient, you should be at such a level that even if there is a deficiency, you can handle that. Then there is in diabetes, what happens is the food what we eat, it generates glucose, and the glucose is transported to the cells by insulin, which is the pancreas make, and it is stored in the cells for later use as energy. But since we have fat in our body, the cells are blocked and the glucose doesn't enter the cells. So the insulin, the pancreas keep generating more and more insulin to see that the glucose is stored in the cells, but that doesn't happen. So what we have to do is we have to reduce the fat in our body so that the glucose is parked safely in the cells, which can be utilized later. All this in the when this does not happen and the pancreas are overworked, so they get damaged in the process. That is where again we have to the doctor prescribes you external insulin, where we get dependent on that. So this is like instead of going ahead, you are going backward. Your health is deteriorating. In today's time, you can see with the present virus which is going around, diabetes and all. But then this virus is here from the past year or so. But I took this plunge 5 years ago to take charge of my health. I said, no, I need to address my health and I need to tackle this right away. I should continue to remain healthy rather than invite problems for myself, my family. And in this process, tackling diabetes, the other issues were also resolved. When I was a diabetic, I would say my blood sugar levels used to drop in the evening drastically prior to starting this lifestyle. Around 4 5 p.m., they used to drop drastically, and I used to eat like a demon. I used to have two sandwiches or two vada paws, whatever was available. I used to have them and come home, have a large meal, what was cooked at home. Even after finishing my portion of the meals, I used to have something from the plates of my children and my wife also. Even that wouldn't satisfy me. Post meals also, I used to search for boxes, what is there in the boxes. There is some farsan or something is there. Then I approached a nutritionist and I told her I am not looking out at any weight loss at this age. I am looking to control my sugar levels. I feel very hungry in the evening. And she put me on a diet for a 3 months period of 3 months, and my problem got streamlined. It was well under control. Then once I started following this lifestyle and I became vegan, I gave up dairy products overnight and I shared this with her. And so this was about diabetes. Then coming to blood pressure, which is also hypertension. Why do we get blood pressure? Because we are consuming excess intake of salt is there. There is a lot of stress in our body. Our weight is more in that. We need to address all these things. The simple things I had to do here was I had to give up salt. My weight got reduced as it is. You won't believe it. Like I was obese. I was 74 kgs. I dropped down to 50 kgs, a loss of 24 kgs. And then I gave up eating all this junk foods and everything. I started having more of natural foods. To reduce your blood pressure, you have to opt for tomatoes, cucumbers, cardamom powder. These enable you to reduce your blood pressure. Cucumbers are there. All these things are very good. Celery juice is there. Carrots are there. So this is one thing. And blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, these are all lead you to kidney disease, and which in turn lead you to heart disease. And cholesterol is what? It gets thickened and the flow gets slowed down in the body. And we need to have a normal flow in the body because it is very important as the blood transports your oxygen to all the cells. So we need to maintain that well. And all this happens when we are having fatty things like dairy products are there, non-vegetarian items are there. These are full of fatty things, which we are not able to digest. We are not meant for it. Even if you ask for milk, we as an adult are not supposed to have milk. It is meant only for infants. If you see other species also, all the species have their own mother's milk. We are also to have our own mother's milk as an infant. And as the child grows up, the production of the milk also stops. So we have not to have fried foods, junk foods. Okay, we can occasionally have. I'm not saying that to give it up entirely. We can have it occasionally, but in moderation. You have to balance yourself the next day and in the coming days, by eating healthy. I'm not saying you deny your taste buds or your social outings with family and friends. You don't have to live a life which is out from all this people. You continue to live that way, but live a more better and balanced life. So this is about diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol, I told you, and how kidney diseases are affected. Kidney diseases are coming in, and then we our heart also is affected. So everything is interconnected. We are not treating one individual problem, but the body has a mechanism to heal itself on its own. We only have to, right, as I mentioned, we have to only provide the right environment to it and the right fuel to it, and things take place like a magic. I would say you don't have to put in any efforts. Talking of my weight loss, when I lost 24 kgs, that was not I was looking at. That was never my motto. But then it was a added bonus for me. My energy levels soared. Today my energy levels are that of a 38-year-old, though I am 58. When I did one of the tests recently, a couple of years ago, wherein my chronological age was 57. By birth I was 57 years. But the report said my biological age, the age of my organs, was of a 42-year-olds. I said, yes, I have regained 15 years of my life within this last 3 years. I said, I should make a better this thing, effort on this and continue with this lifestyle and not give it up. So, and then you see, whenever I was achieving something, I used to go in and get a new pair of clothes as a reward for myself. It is not that I was saving on the medicines and the doctor fees and all that. I used to spend that on myself. I used to spend on buying fruits for myself, having juices. I have done 30 days juice feasting. I was on juices for 30 days in the very first year when I healed myself, because I wanted to check again whether the juices, what they say, if we have these juices, everybody says the sugar levels goes up. I did it for 30 days and I had all the juices, whatever possible, were available since I am still working. So, morning, whatever I used to take from home and go, whether it was a watermelon juice or a grape juice, once that used to get over and I am on the field. So, the most commonly available thing was uh, what you say is sugarcane juice. I used to have Mosambie juice. I used to have grape juice, pineapple juice, whatever was available, orange juice. And I did this for 30 days at a stretch, and I checked my HbA1c levels, not the morning fasting and post lunch levels, which many people don't take it as reliable. I did my 90 days average of blood sugar levels, and trust me, my report said it is 5.5. It was better than what it was earlier. And every now and then I keep checking my parameters. I keep check my blood pressure also, whether it is under control, and normally it is at one between 120, 130, and by 80 also. And I keep a track of my health. It is not that I have healed myself and I could be careless. I keep monitoring my health also. And here I would suggest to everyone that everybody is highly educated to try this and address their, even if one doesn't have health issues. Now, like a fortnight ago, Ojas had a session with a team of people from Ojas who have achieved as I have achieved, and they were all younger to me, junior to me. There was one gentleman in the team who did not have any health issues at all, a very young gentleman, except that his weight was uh, excess weight was there, and he knocked off his weight quite a lot, and he is able to do marathons also. So it is not that when the problem comes we start living this lifestyle and start addressing it. Even if we don't have problems, we ought to prevent that. We ought to prevent the disease coming to us. We have to stop it in the beginning itself, not wait till when things get bad to us, which I did, because I didn't have this privilege, at that time. The moment I came gained this knowledge or the information was shared with me, I made the maximum of it. I said there's no going back, no looking back on this, and I should continue with this lifestyle and I should go ahead with this. I never feel that I'm lacking anything. I'm lacking in dairy products. There are so many alternates. Many people are addicted to tea, caffeine. Yes, there are alternates to it. We can have green tea. Green tea is very good for your body. It increases your metabolism. It reduces your blood pressure. Your fat is reduced with that. So there are alternates to everything. Curds is there. Many people are addicted to curds. Today, there are so many vegan products available in the market. We have soy curd, we have peanut curd. Everything is easily available. Almond milk is available. I make it at home, almond milk, and I have it with turmeric, the almond milk at night. So there is nothing that is not available. It is only that we have to look at those options, try them out, and adopt it, what is in the interest of our own health. So it will be my humble request to all of you all to put in an effort and make a small beginning, one step at a time. I'm not saying to do what I have done. I have been doing it at 5 years. My case was different. I have a host of disease with me, a lot of problems, sufferings of decades I had. But you may not be having that. But you can make a beginning. You can do a small beginning. You can do. I would say here there are no incurable disease. It's only the incurable persons which are there. It is only our mindset which we have to address it. And then we have to, if there is a wall ahead, looming ahead of you, you don't have to get scared of it. You have to make a door, and the door should be so wide that you are able to accommodate others also. So this is what I had to say. We are short of time. I would like to take up a few questions if people have. I would be glad to answer them, whatever possible. So I would request the host to put up the questions if any are there. If there are none, then we can continue more on the health aspect. Thank you everyone for joining this. Let's go to the question answer session. Atul bhai. See, this is again Ojas lifestyle will, if you are following Ojas lifestyle, you will not have any allergies. And then again, it depends what allergies you have, Mr. Chavan. So there you need to take the guidance of your doctor, whether you could take the vaccination, a particular allergy, whether that is acceptable or what would be the reaction to that, or your red flag not to have with that you'll have to check. But if you ask me, if a person who's following Ojas lifestyle will not have any allergies to face, and there wouldn't be a requirement also for vaccination, though we are not against the vaccination, but then it is again an individual call for everybody. We are following whatever the protocol the government has set. We also follow the safe distancing, wearing masks and everything. When the lockdown like curbs are there, we are also stationed at home. So all that we are following. I hope I am clear on what your query was. Archana ji has put in a question. How do you get motivated, sir? I mean, mind control, cause when I did OJS, that 45 months was great. 4.5 months or 45, I don't know. But slowly mind became a monkey. Archana ji, I can understand here. I would say if it is 45 months, your mind will never become monkey. I am at that stage now. My mind never became a monkey even after a month also. So as you eat clean, now suppose you are getting addicted to non-veg, you have a drawing cravings for non-veg, but then before eating that, you give it a thought. What would happen if I eat this? Okay, my tongue would be having a pleasure for a few minutes, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour till you complete the meal. But what would be the damage that would take place in my body by eating this animal products? Yeah, 4 to 5 months I can understand, but even that shouldn't be a problem. When I read 45 months, I was really shocked. But having those animal products, what is the impact they have on your body, on your health? You have to understand that. You have to weigh the pros and cons of it, whether it is more important to please your taste buds or to maintain good health or please your taste buds and then spoil your health. That is again our individual call. Even you are a pure vegetarian, but being a vegetarian, I was a vegetarian for 5 decades, 50 years of my life, I was a vegetarian. And let me tell you, there is, after having understood this concept, I was totally taken back that I have been claiming myself to be a pure vegetarian like you, which I was not, because consuming dairy also was a non-veg item. It comes from an animal. It comes through cruelty. We take away the milk of a calf, and it is not a vegetarian item at all. And we are not able to digest that. We don't have the enzymes to digest that in our body. And then what you call you eat fried stuff, you eat junk, you eat at wrong times, you eat in wrong quantities. Being a vegetarian also, all this impacts your health. Archana ji, I hope I have given you a satisfactory reply. Can we have the next question, sir? Vikram bhai, thank you for everything. Today I am here. I am indebted to you for making me attend the seminar. Hello, Mr. Gagan Ranga. I have your question in front of me. My left leg gone weak due to inadequate blood supply. Muscle reduced. I remained on heart ailment medication. Could my leg be normal? My age is 64 years, weight 57 kgs, height 6.1. Mr. Gagan Ranga, here I would like to say your weight according to your height is normal. Your age also 64 years is nothing to be worried about. And here, what we would say that why this condition has happened to you because of following wrong lifestyle. Talking of your leg gone weak or due to inadequate blood supply or the muscle reduced, we have here testimonies like this morning also. There was a talk on AVN, which is a vascular necrosis, problem. AVN problem is there, vascular problem for muscles only. And Mr. Atul Shah himself, Nandini ji is there, and there may be many more also who have overcome this problem, wherein they were in a condition where they couldn't even walk. Today they are leading a healthy life. So it is again, you have to follow all this healthy practices and improve your health. Nobody would do it for you. You have to do it for yourself and trust the process. The body has the healing capacity. It will heal itself. You have to just keep feeding it the right way. Like even if you see the fruits and plants are there, they also require uh, uh, the fertilizer, the nutrients they want. They need water, they need air, they need sunshine. So everything, even they need to become ripe. And these living foods are so important in our life. I can give a small example briefly. Living food is like, you send a postcard to somebody with a proper name and address. It will definitely go and reach to that gentleman with all the contents, what is to be done. But what if the address is not correct, not proper? It will not reach its destination, neither the contents would be executed what it was addressed to that person. But the same happens with fruits and salads also. They have everything in them, the address and everything, where to go into the body, what role they have to perform, for which part they have to give nutrition. It is that way with them. They have lot of vital energy in them, living energy in them. So when we are consuming fruits and salads, we are consuming vital energy. When we have cooked food, it is again without a proper address, without any destination where it has to go, and we continue to eat those things. There is no limit to it. The brain doesn't give you a signal, it becomes numb to stop. I think I have answered your query satisfactorily. Any more? You are welcome, Archana ji. You should get back to this lifestyle in your own interest. thank you for joining this session and giving me the opportunity to reply to you. Any further questions, please? We still have a few minutes with us. People can still put in some questions, and in the meanwhile, we can continue our talk. Ji,
अनिल जी कोई भी कनेक्टेड क्वेश्चंस नहीं है अभी रिलेटिव सो यू
acha.
कैन एंड द सेशन इफ यू विश
Or can I speak a few minutes more if people would like to hear?
या श्योर
Because we have had a session
ऑलराइट
for 50 minutes. 50 minutes live we have. Maybe 5-10 minutes more if it is convenient to everybody. So there are only a few questions, and if some more are also there, I would definitely address them. We have a few more minutes, about 8-9 minutes before we can end the session. So we can continue this talk. So what I was telling you is, how miserable one feels when you don't have good health with you. One should always try to have it in mind that yes, I should have the best health. Today it is not that I am comparing myself with my peers who have been following this lifestyle or who have been able to do better than me. I have to look at my body clock, what my body has, what my body problems are. Somebody may be doing better than me, somebody may be doing lesser than me. That's again individual to individual. Everybody is different. I have seen here in this group people who are following this lifestyle, they are able to do 9 days air fasting without having any water or any liquid also. They are able to do 9 days of fasting, which I am unable to do. The maximum I could do was during the Navratri was I could fast for 5 days, a couple of days on without water, and the last 3 days on water. So that is the maximum I could do. I have done 30 days and 40 days only on juices. I have been okay. That was again a healing process. When we are having juices, they have lot of live nutrients. And these nutrients get digested without any energy being used from the body. So all the energy what we have is diverted towards cleansing, towards eliminating the toxins from the body, towards repairing the organs. So yes, you do what suits you, not what the other person is doing. Look at yourself, not at the other person. For me, if you ask me, it is me versus me. I am fighting myself only. I have to be a better version of myself. I don't want to compare myself with others who is better than me or who is lesser than me. I am concerned about my health, my body, and this battle is going on within me and it will go on till the end of my life. The motto here is whatever life expectancy we have, the number of years we have, okay, that's fixed what we have. But instead of making it lesser, at least we should be able to survive those many years and till the end lead a disease free life. Will it be good that if we burden our families with our ailments, with our diseases? Tomorrow, if I would have had dialysis, definitely somebody would have to accompany me for the dialysis, and plus there will be a financial burden also. Sorry, there's a question come in here. Let me address that. Sir, will it be possible to share your contact number? I cannot explain my problem by writing. Sure, not only mine, the Ojas team, whenever they conduct seminars, also they share the numbers of all the team members who could be contacted, including Mr. Atul Shah's number, my number also. Whoever wishes to note down my number can note it down. My number is 989-271-8032. I hope it's clear. I'll repeat again: 989-271-8032. Okay, is that Mr. Rajesha? You can always message me or anybody in the OJS team. We will try to address your problem in whatever best way we can do it. Anybody else, or shall we continue for 5 minutes more? We have just 5 minutes on hand before we wind up. And like AIIMS, Mr. Gagan Raja, you have again come up with a query. Okay, they didn't prescribe a treatment for your problem because they wouldn't be having a solution to it. And as it is, solution in medicines is not there. That is only suppressing the systems. Okay, I am not against doctors or anybody. Yes, doctors are important. When you meet with an accident or you need a surgery or something, or there's an emergency, you need the help of a doctor, you know. Definitely, yes. But then for cures and all that, many places they are very handicapped. And I would say nature has all the cures, including cancer. We have had cases of cancer also in our group where people have overcome it by changing their lifestyles. My number is again put on the screen. People can note it down if I have not been very clear on it, or whoever could not note it down. You could save my number. There are others also in the Ojas team who can be contacted. And I would tell you, like when I was telling you in the end now, that we all, most of you all are here strangers to me. I am a stranger to all of you all. But this morning also, like yesterday night when we were having a trial session to conduct this program, there was a lot of connectivity issues, you know. And that very moment, one of the team members said, Mr. Nagpal, you could come over to my house and you can do it from my house, the session. Use my Wi-Fi, it is very clear. You could come over here. Without hesitating for a moment, she offered me to come over to her place and do it, you know. This is where strangers become friends, friends become family, you know. And as we go along on this journey, I come across many new people. I also keep learning interactive with so many people. Now today we are due to this lockdown in the curbs, we have been conducting for more than a year now. We have been conducting online sessions because government doesn't allow us to conduct physical seminars. But then who are not very digitally or tech savvy to attend these seminars, or they come to know about them, we shall definitely resume our seminars also. We shall guide them personally also, and at the same time, we shall be doing these also. If I am not wrong, I think every alternate day there's a seminar being conducted online because we are able to reach people all over the world on these online seminars, and there are requests being conducted to conduct seminars every alternate day. This morning there was a session by Mr. Atul Shah on AVN. Now this session is there by me. Maybe another session also follows this in the evening. So like there are seminars very often, and we have our motto to continue guiding people on this lifestyle for everyone to achieve good health and live a healthy life. Living a healthy life is not a very big achievement which I have done. I was born healthy. I deviated from my path. I have come back, though very late, but nevertheless, there's nothing. If I could do this at the age of 53, I think every one of you can also do it. Age is only a numbers game. Today, my energy levels are of a 38-year-old. What I could not do at the age of 38, I am able to do the yoga asanas, what I am able to perform now. Like earlier, I used to go for my work, I used to get fatigued, I used to get exhausted. Today, no, not at all. Even if I haven't eating anything, my energy levels remain the same. Like if I often use in Mumbai, we have local trains. I often use the local trains. So earlier, when the local train indicator is to show there are 3 minutes for the train to come, I wouldn't make an attempt also to try to board that train because I knew I cannot reach that. But today, even if the indicator is showing 1 minute, I take the staircase, I reach before the people using the youngsters using the escalator. I get down from the staircase, I am on the platform before the train comes in. I don't board a running train. Before the train arrives on the platform, I am safely there and I can get into that. I don't use any elevators for my work purpose also when I have to go offer show properties. I allow my clients to use the elevator. I tell them you can come by elevator even if when it is 5 or 7 floors, I take the staircase. Why? Because my energy levels are there with me. I don't feel exhausted. I don't have to take a crocin every alternate day feeling exhausted or feverish. So though I have been having cold and coughs in these 5 years, but I haven't suppressed them with any medications. I do it in a natural way. I rest my body. I have very light food, and my body recovers again. I don't have to take medicines to suppress it, which I have been doing since childhood, the heavy dosage and all, because I know every pill has a side effect. And I think I've completed 1 hour. And can I take leave from all of you all? And once again, I humbly seek your blessings, and I hope I have been able to convey it properly to you all.
So thank you, Anil Nagpal ji. It was wonderful session, and आज शाम को today's evening we have a session with Sonia Sukhija, who is a celebrity level yoga trainer and natural living practitioner. She will share her blissful journey about complete zero waste and chemical free living. अ, वो उनसे आज शाम को मुलाकात होगी, तो ठीक 5 बजे सभी लोग आप दोबारा कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं इसी पेज पे, इसी लिंक पे, एंड यू कैन लर्न सो मैनी थिंग्स फ्रॉम सोनिया सुखीजा. या अनिल भाई, थैंक यू वेरी मच वंस अगेन.
Thank you, Ojas, for providing this platform and opportunity to share my journey with everybody and my views on this lifestyle. I look forward to further such sessions also if required. Thank you so much.